All right. The HFA Dahlia, HiFi For All Dahlia. These are a pretty cool set of headphones. They are created by a single person out of the Bay Area. I did a live stream with him, Nick, previously. So if you want to check that out, I'd go over a lot of details about my thoughts about these in general anyways. And you can talk and hear his opinion or why he did what he did regarding these, and future plans, as well as just us hanging out and chatting about the audio community, audio headphones, and his ethos regarding builds and what have you. So go ahead and check that out. I'll probably leave a link below for anyone that can't find it. So oh, and a heads up regarding that video, the audio was messed up and that was my fault, but it did get corrected about I think it was like 10 minutes in or so. But there's a link on the pinned comments where you can skip to that if that bothers you, but it did get fixed if you kind of bear with it through that live stream relatively quickly. So anyways, HFA has not asked me to say or do anything other than my honest opinion regarding the HFA Dahlia, but let's dive right into build and aesthetics. So these, like, you can even kind of flatten them out there. It's kind of cool for the carrying because you actually do get, excuse me, reaching for it, a carrying case with the HiFi For All logo. And this is pretty thin case, but it's pretty decently padded. And it will carry the extra pads, the headphones, and your cables. And it's a quality bag, actually. I actually bought one just solo by itself, personally, because I like them. I think they're a cool little bag. The overall build, I actually like it. I like the feel of them. They're very light. The quality is solid. Like everything feels good to use. Like doesn't have creaks. I think he mentioned in the live stream that it creaks a little bit, but I'm not picking it up. It's very solidly built. It's a 3D printed with steel underneath there to add some weight to help with the clamp ports, because these are super light. Very nice leather materials here, and whatever the steel here is really quality. It has a decent edge to it, so I mean you won't cut yourself or anything like that, but it's an edge, but it won't. I didn't have any problems with it. It's not a thing. So the overall here, like the mechanics for raising and lowering the cups on your head, is pretty stiff, but I actually like that because then I know it's going to stay in place when I put it where I want it and like it. So that's excellent. Let's see, the material that he used to 3D print is actually really nice. It has an interesting texture to it, and it doesn't really look like 3D printed. It actually looks more like a purposeful texture design, and I really dig it. It's actually really nice, how he did the 3D printing and the overall design of these. They're very thin, very nice. And then onto the pads. The pads are actually ZMF pads, and they come with two sets. So there'll be this balanced left and right, and then these ones are the dynamics, and I'll talk about the differences once we get into sound. But if you pay attention, there's that little plastic part there that he also 3D prints, and that helps with the sound. I'm not sure if you can track it there or if you'll be able to see it, but there's little holes, and I'm assuming in the ring here itself, and I'm assuming those holes are what adds to the sound signature with that kind of resonance, that kind of thing, and how it works together. And then the pads just kind of loop over that ring, and then that ring just slots right in to the cup here. And on this bottom part, you can kind of see it here, there's a little notch in the 3D print, and I'm assuming that's where you line up the leather stitching to kind of make sure it's kind of flat and where it would sit more naturally on your head. So kind of a cool little add there. I really dig that. That's kind of cool. Hopefully that's focused there. So, and then to show how easy these come on and off, you kind of see there's a little edge there, and I just put my finger in there a little bit, and I kind of just slowly put some pressure between the two until it pops off, and it's just boom. And then you have the driver, and then this just literally you put it right back. Make sure that notch is relatively in the same spot on that part, and then you just press down around the edges, and done. It's easy. So that's pretty cool for the design, aesthetic, and then for comfort, these things are extremely light. and they look really good. Like they're so light though. If I do this, you can kind of see they lose their place. So just don't go headbanging when you're having these on your head. Not that you would do that with any headphone, but just something to be aware of. They're so light that they do, if you move rapidly, which this is a weird thing to be nitpicking. Like it's not even a problem, because I don't shake my head when I'm playing video games or listening to music. But these are so light though that part of the reason why he has the steel in here and the design that they went here is so it adds weight to add clamp to help make sure that there's compression on the pads to get the proper sound signature. So these are very light. Final thoughts on build and aesthetic. I actually really dig it. I really like the blacked out version. You can actually get a steel version too, where it's not powder coat or not painted black steel underneath the cup here, and you can see like the steel, actual steel, so it'd be like a steel band kind of deal underneath the black kind of like wave there. So that's kind of cool. I like the blacked out version though. That's just my preference, and you still see the white driver right through there. But overall build aesthetic is fantastic. I really dig on it and very impressed, especially for a first outing. Like very, very impressive build and aesthetic and comfort as well. Very, very comfortable, very light. You kind of forget they're on your head. Moving into the sound of these, I'm impressed. I was extremely impressed. And my buddy Christian, or CT from Niche Audio, he told me at Can Jam that one of the things that I had to, no matter what, get my ears on was these. And I'm glad he did, because these are actually instantly, I was like, these have something special. They're very lovely sounding. I would say they are very clean, and they also have this nice warmth to them. There's just the right amount of detail. And the only thing I can compare them to is if you were to say, like, if you were to take all the best parts of like a 600 or a 650 and then an HD 800 maybe, and you kind of combined them together a little bit. That's kind of how I feel about these. I feel like it has really nice low end for how good the mids and highs are, and the overall sound signature, I would say, is fairly balanced. I would say the low end definitely has a little more punch, and the highs are just about right for me anyways. I'm very impressed with these. As far as like a do-all headphone, I think that's where these shine. You can go from watching a movie, playing video games, to listening to music and not even be worried about it. Like they just sound great across all the different things that I was using them for. And so, and I'll probably tie in here, like I was using them a lot with video games. I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk. I was playing a lot of Destiny 2 and Halo Infinite. And in the live stream, Nick was talking about how he spent a crazy amount of hours using the prototypes and different prototypes of these while playing Halo Infinite. So I had to jump into some Halo Infinite and see how that went. And it's the height imaging and the depth, and just it's not super wide headphones, but they have like that, almost the imaging is where it's really crazy. They have really good imaging for what they're doing for both the height and, like, I guess lows, like not in the sound sense of like low end sound, but like how far down they go and how high they go, and to the right and left. The imaging is excellent. I had no problem picking up where people were at, even like in this like almost 3D space. It was really cool hearing that, and then being able to then switch over to listening to music and having just this really lovely like low end and mids, and the vocals from different tracks to the highs just being just about right. Like I had no major issues at all with sound with these. Like they're kind of what I would want from I guess what I originally wanted from like an HD 700. Like, and that's my favorite gaming headphone, but it's not the best for music. It's good. It's really good. I like it, but there is some weirdness with that one. In fact, I actually have mine up there. Actually, one of the yokes is broke, so I need to figure out how to fix that. But these HFA Dahlias, for the sound signature that they present, is excellent. I'm really impressed. These are a do-all headphone, and honestly, for the price, I think they're running in around like $900. I mean, that's expensive depending on where you're at in the world and whatnot. But like, definitely, if you're an audiophile and you want that kind of that Sennheiser to some level, because it's unique to its own. They have their own unique tuning. But I would say the best comparison I can think of is if you were to take that 650 or just like that whole lineup and just kind of mash it into one headphone, and that's kind of what you get. Like the whole like 600 to 800, that whole in between range, and these kind of feel like that replacement for those in my mind. And I do a lot of HD800 gaming, a lot of HD700 gaming. I'm not the biggest fan of the 6 or 650s, mostly because they just kind of get muddy or whatnot. But the 600s aren't, no, those are really excellent. But I'm not a big fan of like the way they sit on my head. But these work and they sound fantastic. I really love the low end. I like how they can like scale with whatever you're putting at them or putting through them. So I was doing things like pairing it with a preamp into the niche Pietis Maximus, and with the preamp, it really bumped up the power and just the image, everything. It just became way better, and they just scaled easily, effortlessly with it to something like my Cord TT2. And then I've been playing with this Apos Audio's Gremlin, and that thing was a little tube kind of thing, and it's really actually surprisingly cheap for how good that is. And I'll be doing a video on that later, but these scaled up and down, no problem. They sounded excellent. I love them out of my portable stuff, such as the Griffin and whatnot. Even straight out of the MacBook, it was fantastic. So easy recommend for audio signature sounds, that kind of thing. Really impressed. I really like the low end, really like the richness of the mids without it being overdone or anything like overly gooey or anything like that. And the highs were just about right for everything that you want to do. Like, so playing video games, you know, usually you hear those like the gunshots or whatnot if you're playing a FPS or something like that, and sometimes those retorts can be like just and you're like, oh my gosh, like, get these off my head kind of thing with certain headphones. These present those without it being like ungodly painful to the ear or like, oh, I need to turn the volume down. So I really dug that. So moving on, the balance to dynamic. So the balance is more of that, I'm assuming like what I picked up on the balance is that it's just that, like, it has this nice even keel sound signature, and surprisingly I preferred the balanced over the dynamics. The dynamics definitely got more punchy, a little more crispier, so depending on what you're looking for, you can swap back and forth, and it's relatively easy, as you saw. So definitely play with that and see what you like best. I ended up falling on the balance as my preferred listening across general use, so take that for what it is. But the dynamics do definitely jump up that dynamics, that punchiness, that crispness, whereas the balance kind of keeps it a little more even keel, I guess. So yeah, that's the sound, in my opinion, regarding the HFA Dahlia. Actually, I just noticed something that's really cool, and it's up here on, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there's a little HFA logo right there. I just noticed that after weeks of having these, and that's kind of cool. So a little attention to details there that are really nice. And then he has like the right and left on the inside cups 3D printed in there too. So kind of final thoughts here regarding the Dahlia. It's, in my opinion, one of the best under $1,000 headphones you can get. Like, honestly, it's going to be hard to beat these for under $1,000. These things are fantastic, like really, really good headphones. They sound excellent. I'm really impressed by them, and definitely recommend getting ear time with them if you can. I'm sure they're going to be starting out to hit different people that pre-ordered them and ordered them. They'll be hitting them soon, I think over the next couple weeks or next month, whatnot. So I'm sure a lot of people will be able to give more impressions and what have you with the Dahlia. But my time with them, very impressed. Just, yeah, fantastic. I'm looking forward to eventually getting a set of my own, actually, just because I like these a lot. Yeah. So, and hopefully he makes a purple set. Maybe like a cool, like we talked about in the live stream. You need a little color, a little splash of color in there. But anyhow, or no, it'd be dope is instead of black on the steel, maybe have like a purple, underlying purple color. That would be sick. Anyhow, Nick, if you're watching, where are my hands? I don't know what to do with my hands. What do with them? Okay, anyways. That joke. Final thoughts. If you're a gamer, these are like top-notch gaming headphones, in my opinion, if you don't mind being wired to like a PC, that kind of thing. I didn't even try them on console, so that was something I didn't try. I've been mostly playing on PC lately, but these are 32 ohms, so I can't imagine them not performing well plugged directly into a controller on a console, that kind of thing. Or if you have like a portable DAC setup for DAC amp setup for your console, this would be fine with that as well. I believe these don't take a lot to power them. So definitely think for gamers, these are like kind of in-game gamer headphones as well. They're very light. You can have long gaming sessions with them and super comfortable. Let's see, going into who else? Man, if you don't like the comfort of any of the 600 or 650 series, but you like the sound, I would say give these a try. These are pretty dang dope, and they scale. I honestly feel like they go up. They aren't going to beat the HJ100 in that stage, that because it's almost super unrealistically wide on that. But as far as like the imaging and height and everything else, they're almost right there. Like they're right there. And same with like the overall sound signature. It's weird. Like they almost chameleon through all the different Sennheiser like sounds, but have their own unique sound signature, which makes them like just sound so good. Like it's hard to explain just how good these sound without someone being able to like listen to them. And obviously preference, opinion, that kind of thing. They just hit a lot of what I like and what I like to use headphones with and how I use them. You know, I go from playing video games to listening to music, and I tend to go on the go a little bit. So I took them to coffee shops, that kind of thing. They work great. Grand open back, not the best for public open spaces, but you know, I was just trying it out. But yeah, I think if you're looking for a set that reminds you of the like that Sennheiser sound, but you know, kind of more in line to that. I'm using that as a comparison, not necessarily that these sound exactly like that, but just as something to keep for relevance, I guess, to comparison's sake, so people can understand what I'm kind of talking about. The low end is fantastic, the mids are great, and the highs are great without being overly sibilant. There's never been any moment where I had over sibilance, even with gunfire or that kind of thing. Gunfire in a video game, let me be clear. Don't wear these to like a range or anything. Yeah, these are fantastic. I definitely recommend them. I'm a fan, and I think that they're for anyone looking in that price range of, you know, $500 to $1,000. These are extremely competitive, if not one of the best in that range, and even above. Like these are, I think personally, beat some of the Focals that are, you know, coming out in that above like that $1,200 to $1,500 range even, personally. And Focals do great stuff, but they're kind of, you know, claustrophobic, and these are not. So these are a little more easy to get along with the highs and what have you, from my recollection of most Focals. So something to also keep in mind. Obviously also a preference thing, but that's my opinion. I think these are excellent and worth the time to get your ears on them if you can, and or if you're flush with cash and looking for something that's great for video games and in general use and over across the board, just listening happiness, and just, yeah, HiFi For All Dahlia is definitely a recommendation. So yeah, anyhow, I guess with that overly long-winded opinion of the HFA Dahlia, I'll let everyone have their morning, afternoon, or evening back, and catch everybody on the next one. Cheers. Thanks for joining.